What's up, everybody? This is Erica from the Classy Climb blog, coming to you guys today with, if you don't like change, Trump's first 100 days are going to be very uncomfortable for most Americans, says CEO of Blackstone. I'm going to pull this article up. Let's see if I can screen share it for you guys, because I think it's hilarious, but it's true. I like reading the news, and people say, oh, the news is fake, but I feel like the news drops crumbs of what's about to go down, right? Like if something's about to happen or changes are going to be made, they're sprinkled in newspapers all over the United States. And over, you keep hearing, if you don't like change, you're about to get some. So anyway, this is Blackstone's Steve Schwarzman says Trump's first 100 days are going to be uncomfortable. Now, here's some important parts of his article. He basically says, if you don't like change, this will be an uncomfortable period. Now, what does that mean? It means the next 4 years are going to be uncomfortable. He sees some changes to foreign policy and, taxes and, just things that are going to happen that if you start changing them, have long effects. Now, here's some things that I thought. He said, it's going to touch a lot of unfamiliar places. Now, what does that mean? Me and you all know a new president, a new direction. The president doesn't seem like it matters that much, but Congress does matter. Who we have in office does matter, and it does affect us. Not as much as our job, not as much as our home, not as much as our children. Those are things we can tangibly touch every single day. And the more people I watch on TV tomorrow, I hope Trump does this, I hope Trump does that. At the end of the day, you really must take control of your life. Extreme ownership is my policy for anybody. So here's something I like to talk about: constructive discontent. It's not saying you're uncomfortable or unhappy where your life is now. You just know that you can do better and be better. And a lot of people in America are coasting. And when I say coasting, I mean they work one job. I remember telling y'all this story about a guy who worked at a food place together. And he only worked about 4 hours a day. And, I worked about 4 hours there. And he was like, yeah, I got to go on food stamps. And everybody was like, yeah, man, why? He was like, because, I can't afford to live off this one job. And I want to go, well, go get you a second job or go do something with the rest of the hours in your day. This old mantra of just having one job and it provide all your needs and services and you can live the most maximum life on 4 hours a day it's just unconscionable, right? So a lot of people have been coasting. A lot of people have been living with family members and not really pushing themselves to their extremes. Now, why do people, when they move to new cities or new towns, all of a sudden just catapult, with income, catapult with activity, make new friends, go to new events, do new things? Because they don't have their family members around them kind of saying, you shouldn't do that. That doesn't seem like you. So they go to the new city and they try new things and they eat new foods and they do jobs they probably would never work before because of it. That's why I love seeing military folks who are so well adjusted. And I'm a military kid, so I'm saying it from experience, where you have military kids who travel all over the world and they're happier, productive people, can talk to anybody, very flexible. And then you have some military kids who are like, it was the most horrible thing ever. I had to talk to new people and meet new people. And it's kind of like, oh my God, you missed the opportunity that the military sent you all around the world. And a lot of these people got to go to Germany, they got to go overseas, and you got to see things that most people don't see, and yet you're unhappy, right? So here's the thing. Instead of saying, when you hear people say, well, I couldn't get a job there. I couldn't get a job anywhere in the whole city. I love this. This is my perfect example because I hear day in and day out through my messages, my phone calls, consults, a lot of people move to Atlanta and say, oh man, they don't pay enough here. I couldn't find a job paying me enough. I couldn't find this. And you want to go, you move to Atlanta from New York City, your cost of living has gone down at least to 25% what you were paying. Like you're paying $3 grand for an apartment. Now you're paying $700 in Atlanta and you're complaining that you can't find a job to take care of you. There should have to be some adjustments there. You should be saying, how can I serve this community? How can I serve people enough to get money back? And that's why when, you see a lot of the Hispanic guys cutting lawns and cutting trees and washing windows and all that stuff, people may make fun of them, but they've decided up here that they don't have to beg for a job. They can go serve enough people till they get to $5 grand a month. I know a woman's husband who he cuts a particular certain number of yards every month, same clients over and over. Even if when it's in the wintertime, he goes and picks up leaves and stuff in their yard and limbs, and some of them are older people. And guess what? I mean, he just like, he's comfortable. but he's created his own system. He's created his own purposes. So look, some of the things I know I can already see and tell you guys are going to be changing. Tax refunds are being pushed back. And many people are like, oh, this doesn't matter, Erica. This doesn't matter. But it does. It shows you your federal government is like, ooh, we're a little tight on money. So we can't give y'all all back your money January 15th. So let's give you back your money in March. Now, what does that mean? Why does that matter? Because you're going to have a lot of businesses paying taxes. You're going to have a lot of companies paying taxes. You know, they pay quarterly on the dot, on time. It's just a shuffling of money, right? And who gets affected by tax refunds? Usually low-income people, poor people, people who are going to pay their rent 6 months up via their income tax, all these type of people, right? So same thing with Section 8 and low-income housing. They're starting to cut funding on that. They're going to cut funding. So a lot of people who went ahead and built all these, like I'm in Austin, Texas, and we had like 200 apartments built that were brand new, shining, marble countertop, granite countertops, nice luxury floors are great. And they were all low income housing or mixed income housing. Why? Because these companies were getting as many tax breaks as they possibly could before the changes came, which I get. All right, middle class crunch. There are so many middle class people right now saying, oh, it's so hard for the middle class, it's so hard. And a lot of times you want to go, listen, dude, if you're making $50,000 to $100,000, you are outside the norm. The average American really is only making 20 grand, 30 grand a year, 35 grand a year. And then even with taxes, it's lower than that, right? So when they say the average is of 50,000, they're really averaging with you the 1 in 5 Americans who make 100,000 a year. And if you're an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer or a certain particular title, you make higher income, but even they are struggling. 6% of high income earners, $100,000 a year earners, have no savings. So what's the deal there? We're changing in society. We're going to get uncomfortable to a point where you have to have investments, have rental properties. It's going to literally be tangible assets, or it doesn't really matter. There's an article I was trying to share. I'm going to put it on the blog, and classyscl.com is the blog, but it's going to show you where people who invested in 401k and people who invested in themselves. And when they mean invest in themselves, they mean jobs, they mean real estate, and the returns are out of this world. And why are they out of this world? Because having 10 houses that pay you maybe $1,000 each one of them a month and giving you 100,000 plus a year is way more cash flow tangent and you touching it than you having a 401k with $1 million in it. And no matter what you take out of that 401k, they're going to tax you. I have a friend who's going to cash hers out because she wants to go completely into the road of real estate. And I'm like, they're going to hit you with 40%. So the money you saved and your company matched you, they're already going to take almost half of it away from you in taxes. So, what was the point, right? So again, investing in yourself is important. And if you look at it, I think if you have something that you and your wife can do, or you and your husband can do outside of your job, if your job lays you off tomorrow, what is some skills and talents and things you and your spouse or your girlfriend or boyfriend can do tomorrow? And that's important because that gives you control. There's so many people saying, Erica, I lost my job. I can't find another job. Well, if I were you in that moment, I would be driving Uber. I'd be driving Lyft. I'd be doing all these gig jobs. I'd be walking dogs. I'd be finding ways to make money where I am. Everybody's not going to make a ton of money on the internet. Now, if you can do Amazon FBA and you got some money to play, do it. But 9 times out of 10, a lot of people, if they just got up from where they are now and started serving people, and when I mean serving people, we all know at least 10 or 20 older ladies who have a ton of handyman do lists at their house. Now, do they have money? I don't know. You have to judge that for yourself. There are a lot of neighborhoods just like that, where it's a single guy, it's a single girl, single people who can't get all the tasks done. That's the reason you have handyman so popular right now. But constructive discontent is saying, I want to do better. And for a lot of Americans, they haven't hit that point yet. And they're going to hit it in this administration, is my point. So let me go over here and check these comments and see if you guys left me any comments over here. Oops, let me see here. Oh man, whoops, sorry you guys. See, you left a lot. My bad. I got one contact in today, so give me a break. Dexter Williams, we are Africans. We survived slavery. It's time to flip it back on them and flourish in this environment. Dexter, let me tell you, I think in America, African Americans right now are having the winning hit. Now you're going to say, well, Donald Trump's coming in. It's scary. Now here's my prefaces. I do see police violence. I see all these things. But if you are a middle class, nice, low haircut dude, and you go right now into any of the farm credit bureaus in the whole United States, you could pretty much, if you're under 35, a woman or a minority, get about $1 million to buy land, to get working capital, to get a farm rolling. And honestly, even here in Texas, a lot of people aren't even using that money for farming. They're using it for hunting and recreational land. So they know the land isn't great for farming. So they just let people go hunt. They let hogs loose on it. And they're charging people $200 a person to come out there and get hogs. And if the hogs weigh over so many pounds, then that person has to pay them even more money. So imagine every weekend for a few weeks a year, you've got 10 guys coming out. That's $2,000. And they're all shooting up all the hogs they can get. I mean, and hogs reproduce like crazy here. So there's many ways to make money, and there's many programs out there that if you're a minority, you can get your foot in the door. So a lot of times when I hear people say, oh, you know, African Americans, I'm like, do you know how many programs have been created that you, by just having that minority stamp, can slide in the door? I'll give you an example. Here in Austin, Texas, me and one other company are the only companies registered as hub, historically underused business, minority ownership businesses that can be used by the city. And for a while, I was like, my phone has ringed every day. What is going on? And then someone let me know, it's just you and one other person. Nobody else wants to take the time to fill out the paperwork to be on the city's list. So there's that. Cosmic wisdom. I totally believe in moving to a new city. I'm telling you, there's an article I wrote on the blog, 5 tips for moving to a new city. The first 90 days are the most important. I worked in the apartment industry and I live in Austin, and we have 150 people moving here a day, and we have almost 90 leaving every day. Why is that? Every day when I was in the apartment office, people would be like, oh, I just couldn't make friends. I couldn't get along. I couldn't do anything. Now in their hometown, they may have just gone to work, came home, watched TV and hung out with family, or did whatever they could on the weekends. When you move to a new city, you have to commit the next 2 years by getting up and going to events, going to meetouts, going on dates, visiting new churches, really being committed to making that new city work for you. And then people just don't do that. Cosmic wisdom is sink or swim time then. Yes, very true. Cosmic wisdom. If I was in ACL, I'd buy a house close to that new stadium. Holy crap, Cosmic. Do you know how many people, when they already talked about that new stadium, have already bought up half of the empty lots all over there? I mean, there's already people who probably 6 months in a row, 6 months, knew this was coming and have already bought up stuff over there. But you still can profit. It just won't be as cheap as the other people. Dexter Williams, she's explained the mentality of the typical non-Mexican immigrants. Well, I mean, you know, here's the deal. I know, again, I have a Vietnamese friend, came here for college, and first thing he did is he got a $20,000 credit card and opened a corner store in Georgetown, Texas. Now, he still goes to school. He does what he's got to do to keep the visa. But if you are an immigrant, or you're a person that comes to America, and they didn't say you couldn't, own a business. They just said you came here for a student visa, so you shouldn't be working full time. Well, he owns a business. It's not him working full time. It's him owning a business. If he makes $250,000 off this corner store, which is highly unlikely, but he could if when he gets the gas going. I think he has it going now. He could say on paper, "Oh, I make $250,000," and they'll give him there's a type of visa they give you in America where if you own a business and you're making money, you can stay here forever, the rest of your life. You got like a visa forever. And you can also ask for 5 employees that are family members from another country. The United States is like, sure, we'll help you get them in. So, I mean, even if I just see a lot of there was a black guy crying, and it was upsetting me because he had been out of prison for maybe 7 years, and he was like, someone finally believed in me and gave me a job, and he was crying. I'm like, Negro, you could believe in yourself, got you a lawnmower and a truck, or got you a moving company, because he was a big burly guy. I'm like, you could have started a moving company when you first came out of prison and hired other guys and been moving people and had your own company for 7 years now. Instead of the narrative that, someone finally believed in me and now they're giving me a chance for working $10 an hour. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy. Like, that's why when people go to jail and they have these programs where you can send books, I send business books, because that's all they should be doing while they're sitting there, is reading, learning, educating themselves. So when they leave there, they are ready to go and not recycling back in prison. But that's the mentality. It's not just because they went to prison, but it's also because they're not thinking of, what can I do? Because most people will not hire a felon. Yes, there are companies that hire. Yes, Jiffy Lube and all these other places hire. But what can I do with this mind of mine And there's a guy white guy, came out of prison, was like, nobody's hiring me. I don't never want to go back. He made a company of survival skills, supplies. So he had backpacks, he had knives, all this stuff, and he sold them online. And his company made $1 million. Like, he's been just marketing. He learned how to do PPC ads. You know, he got like $1,000 credit card because nothing was on his credit when he came out of prison. And so there's so much. I'm gonna stop before I go deep into that. I'm gonna go too crazy. All right. Those values are going way up, says Cosme Williams. That's true. Dexter Williams, I live in Houston. They throw their money away on beer and parties. You know what, Dexter, I hate to believe that, but I've heard it. I've heard it. Mike B 28, wish I could get a tax return. Your goal is not to get a tax return. But the funny thing is, people don't adjust their W-4. And I've talked about that in other videos, how to adjust your W-4 so that you can reflect how to get your money back. I mean, I was sitting in a group of guys who, the military guy literally got $750 back every check. $750 of your own money that the government was taking in taxes? I think so. So there's that. I don't file until March anyways. Of course, I mean, I wait till the last daggone minute. I find again, the 2 books I always recommend for you guys, if you want them, is 475 Business Tax Deductions and Incentives, and 1001 Tax Deductions and Incentives. I think that's what it is. But go ahead and look them up on Amazon. Mike B, or maybe I'm glad I don't. Mike B at Cosmo Wisdom, you still can. It would be a serious flipper upper. They are there. Mike B, if he's in Atlanta and he's telling you the truth, listen to it. My friend Andre Hatch is down there in Atlanta. He took a bunch of pictures in front of like abandoned properties in Atlanta, and a lot of them were 40, 50,000. But the key is you gotta put the work in. Zero Cool, Erica, where do you buy gold or silver? I go on silver.com. I think that's where it says silver.com. I'm not as big as in the gold right now, and I'll tell you the reasons why. I'm bigger into silver because I know silver, I can move silver. Gold is like, depending on, like, unless you go right to a collector company or someone you're selling it on eBay, it's hard to move gold. Like bars, little bars at a time, $20 at a time. Because in my mind, that's $20. Every time I see a bar, it's $20. So, Chris McDonald, who throws their money away on beer and parties in Houston? I don't know, but that's what I hear. Like, I remember my friend invited me to a thing on Sunday. It was like sundresses and mimosas, and I was like, "Is that a deal in Houston?" So, Dexter Williams at Chris, many Mexicans do, not all. Yeah, not all. Let me tell you an example. I worked at a food restaurant and it was very nice. The company was nice. They paid him $11, $12 an hour. It was very comfortable in Jason Deli, and people know Jason Deli, but very comfortable. And the ladies, there were men that were kept leaving to go start their own thing. And the other Mexicans would look at them like they were stupid. Like, why are you leaving this good job, paying us $12 an hour and treating us nice? I mean, it was crazy. And it was like, you should salute Hector for leaving and going to start an air conditioning company. He went to community college and got all his credits. He's going to start this. Or you should salute, you know, it was a couple of different groups that left, but they were like, it was so strange to me that some of the Mexicans and some of the El Salvadorians, I'm saying it terrible. Salvadorians were not nice to each other for various reasons. So, Lamb Lynn, any literature on how to take advantage of Farm Bureau loans? So, I mean, there's plenty of things out there, but honestly, I've been debating on doing a class or not, but a lot of, like, if you go right now to your community college and look up sustainable farming or look up any agricultural thing, you could do like 15 credits on agricultural farming. You know, as far as, and it'll be on marketing. It'll be on marketing or, you know, ways to make the farm more popular. It's really the business of farming. And you go into the loan office and they'll give you money. They'll help you walk you through it, almost all of it. If you have a region in mind, an area in mind, yeah, there's a lot of money right now. I mean, they're basically one of the vice presidents I know of a farm bureau. He's Black from South Carolina. And the first thing out of his mouth was like, my goal is to get at least 10 to 20 Black and Latino kids into farming, where they have huge farms that some of it is hunting land, some of it is recreational. Like right now, I know of some kids who have ranches and they don't even work the ranch. The ranch has cabins on it right here, down here by Wimberley over here, Texas, and they Airbnb them out all the time. And people love the little ranch experience, and their parents mail letters to companies like, you should do your retreat here. We have 12 cabins. And your company could, you know, And so sometimes companies do take advantage of it. So, all right, Keon Gordon, Erica, make me rich. Man, Keon, it's all up in here. Every person has what they need right here. And I know y'all think I'd be silly when I'm doing that, but it's really serious. Every person has the keys to what makes them tick, what makes them happy, what they can live with. And you just have to follow through. A lot of y'all I talk to on these consults, you guys are so close. It makes my heart hurt a little bit, but I'm like, you're so close. If you just fill out this paperwork, if you just move a few things around, if you just clean up your credit here, you could probably just get untapped resources and keep going for it. I mean, there's a lot of you, if you focus for 2 years, you probably could have 5 rentals. So but that's just me saying that. So Lennon, sorry. Just bookmark 2 things I heard you say so far. Would like to say thank you. No problem. I like sharing these things because honestly, if you're here, you're looking to do something with your life. And I'm a big believer in each one, teach one. I'm a big believer in if I tell you something and you tell 100 people, I've kind of via you changed 100 people's lives. So imagine if 3,000 people do that thing. Cosmic wisdom. I'm looking for rural land, but I want to use it to lease to solar farms, depending on what the Trump administration does as far as policy. Listen, they've been making a killing with the solar farm thing, especially in North Carolina right now. Always have 4 or 5 plans for your land. That's what I tell people. I'm like, even if you put a bunch of pecan trees out there and honeybees, and then somebody comes along and say, hey, we want to use this other side of your land for this, go for it. But the key is having enough, right? So the other day I looked for some land and it was like 20 grand for, I think it was 7 acres in North Carolina. I mean, 7 acres, you can just do just about anything. So keep your eyes open for those things, those opportunities. But that's my big deal today. That was all I had to talk about. Didn't have much. But yeah, if you read the news at all, if you're on CNBC, trust me, you will you get those scribes. So later tonight or probably tomorrow, I'm gonna do a talk on how to turn 100,000 into like 500,000. But it's me just talking about an article from and you can do it about 5 years, 100,000 into 300,000 about 5 years. The Rich Dad Poor Dad people, they've been sending me things that I've wanted to talk about it because it's easier than that, but we'll talk about it. So cosmic wisdom, I'm looking at South Carolina. South Carolina is brimming over with land. Now, the only issue with South Carolina is your neighbors. Who are your neighbors going to be? What part of South Carolina you're in? How close are you to the highways to get goods and services moved or get advertised it for recreation? Kinkisha Miller, what sort of life insurance policy would you suggest to get? Universal life or term? It depends on who you are, Keisha, and how old you are. Do you have kids? I mean, who's your family? I mean, here's my deal. There's a great book. I want y'all to pick it up. Please pick it up. It is called Becoming a Millionaire Before 30, or How to Become a Millionaire by 30. It's a green cover. It's a father and his 2 sons wrote it. So already he's making money for him and his sons, all of them getting royalty checks. But it's basically how a lot of people invest in, I think it's term. Is it term or is it life? I'm sorry, but it's taken me a minute. But the point of the story is there's policies out there, life insurance policies, where if you're investing like $900 a month, I know it sounds high. But $900 a month for the next 10 years, for the rest of your life, you can draw $50,000 a year off that policy for about 20 years. So there's people doing that all day and night. So if you're a parent and you want to help your kid when they first leave college from 21 to 31, you go, hey, I'm going to put this money aside for your life insurance policy. So for the rest of your life, you can pull from it. You could do that. Or if you want to be really honest, life insurance is amazing in many ways as far as accidental, if you can accident, if you can pay you back, Aflac, all these people. Aflac's extra, by the way. Aflac's not just one kind of insurance. Aflac's the extra insurance for extra costs, right? Extra expenses you might experience. But if I had a kid that was 18, the first thing I would do is I'd buy probably a house in their college town and let them have tenants, people renting rooms from them. They would just learn a lot as a person and about business and about themselves. And no matter how many people I look up, that's been the most effective. Like I had a friend who had like 750 credit score forever. And everybody was like, how does he have that? He barely keeps a job. His parents bought him a house in college, put his name on the lease, put his name on the deed. and because he was 18 and he's been renting rooms out forever. So he never really had a stress about working really serious jobs. And then when he finally wanted to start investing, like the light bulb finally came on, he was 24 with 750 credit score. So, I mean, and a house he'd been living in forever. So, auto hacking. Dexter Williams, bye-bye. What happened? Were we leaving? Bye, Dexter. Auto hacking. I don't like too much debt. I'm looking to buy, renew, and rent. I guess you meant repair and rent. I have about 35 in liquid cash. I don't have to leverage too much. Leverage versus pay cash, which one? This is totally up to you, auto hacking. Let's say you're in some parts of South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia. You can get a property for really, really cheap, but you're going to have to put some work into it. So I've always been a big believer in, I wouldn't want to let go of all my liquid cash ever. I mean, they may say, cash is king, but literally it is. If you are in a conundrum, I would always keep cash. I would basically put the minimum down if they let me, or 10% or 20% if I had to, make sure it turned to a rental. And then I would tell them, hey bank, I have this property, blah, blah, blah. And I'd refi it. Like if I put money into it and the value of it went up, I'd refi it, take that refi amount and keep investing it in houses. And then you never touch any more of your cash. Now that's called the BRRRR method. I don't know if you guys look at Bigger Pockets or Brandon from Bigger Pockets. The BRRRR method is buy, repair, rehab, refinance, whatever, and repeat, right? So you're basically, if you take, if you get $100,000 house and you got to put 20 grand down, and then you put some work into it, and now the house is worth 140 or 125 because you put a little nice things in it. Well, now you can pull out maybe 20 to 40 equity out of it when you refinance, and take that 20 to 40 and put it in the next house, and the next house, and the next house, and the next house. And there are people, I don't know what show number it is, but it was a recent show they just did where a couple left college, married out of college. They never got a job. They took 14 grand they had out of their senior year in college, put it in a house, refied the house, took it to the next house, and they've been doing that. Now they own a 20-unit apartment building. So they've been doing that for 10 years. So you can pretty much refinance in like 30 to 90 days, depending on your area, depending on the banks. So there's a lot of stuff going on. All right, let's see. Let me go back up. NY Uber driver, Erica, I have about 85 acres of land in South Carolina. I was thinking about solar farms. What do you think? If you've got 85 acres of land in South Carolina, we might need to talk on the phone. No, but seriously, 85 acres of land. I have one contact in, so it's taking me a minute to read you guys stuff, but you could take one half, like you could literally take 5 acres, fill that bad boy up with trailers. I'm not even joking you. And that just be your rental cash in your pocket and your money. And they'll bring the trailers out to you for free because you own the land. Just put some septic tanks out there. Then I take another 5 acres. I'd convert that to nothing but pecan trees and honeybees and make that a farm. Then I take the rest. I take another sliver and I make that recreational Airbnb and put like a little pond. And then I take the rest and I would do solar farms with it. That's just my personal opinion. You can take that and go to the bank with it. You can write that up in a business plan right now. I'm not even joking you. So rewind it if you need to, but definitely you can take that ideal NY Uber to do that. Cosmic Wisdom, you need to do it. NY Uber driver. Yes, seriously, he does. Is it a flat area near a highway, energy source, nearby a flood zone? Really, Cosmic Wisdom? Yeah, if you have land, might as well make money. If not, you're not leveraging. Just outside the MB area. I don't know what the MB area is. Conway? Okay, yeah, Conway, I know you're talking about. I know Marion has solar farms, but maybe zoning issue. See, Cosmic Wisdom is already helping you there, NY Uber. You guys can switch emails in here if you want. I don't know. Anyway, thanks. Cool. We'll call you this weekend if I may. Do it. So I got to run because I got to get some lunch in me. But, and I had told some friends I was going to meet them for tacos. It's Texas. It's all about tacos. But the key to anything is being in control. Oh, MB, Myrtle Beach. Okay, yeah, Myrtle Beach, yeah. They got a lot of blueberry farms going out that way, but that's neither here nor there. The key to anything is you being in control. You having that property make money for you. If you already got 85 acres, your only thing honestly would be credit financing to get cash flowing things setting up there. As far as rentals, as far as peak entries, as far as all that stuff, you can get all that stuff. But yeah, NY Uber, just pay for a consult and we'll talk. So you guys, the next 100 days don't have to be uncomfortable. It's totally up to you. The freedom is your choice. The way you control your destiny in the next 4 years under Trump is totally under your control. Don't despair, don't hope. Make a plan. So with that, I am going to leave here. You guys have been wonderful. Thanks for hanging out.